when you put pressure on it, you can feel the resistance. That's very nice. I mean, this is a great brush. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It, where I go around the world and the internet looking for art supplies to try and make your life just a little bit easier, or for you to enjoy the craft just this much more. Now today we are going to our beloved Five Below because they have released a ton of new stuff, and I cannot wait to try it because, as we know, if you look at some of the other videos, some of them are really good and some of them are not so good. So knowing which ones to get from Five Below is going to be a game changer for you guys when you are trying to get budget-friendly materials that will still give you a professional quality. And today we are going to be looking at the illustration marker set. Now, this one is special because it is a brush tip and then a fine tip, like a micron pen or fine liner. So I'm really excited to see how this is gonna work out, because normally the fine liners are not so good, but we're gonna check them out because they're only $5. So come on, let's go check them out. All right, so as you can see, complete new branding for the Five Below art series that they're doing. They've kind of upped the game. I think personally they've upped the game of their presentation. Everything looks the same. It's not the clear plastic box that they had before. This just looks way more put together. I really do enjoy these. And here's the thing, I almost got caught thinking that I did this review already, but there was a fine point, dual fine point marker that we did, but these are the illustration dual fine points. So this has a brush and a fine liner, where the other one had a brush and a bullet tip. So this is a little bit different, and we're gonna see if this one holds up anywhere as the other one does, but it's an illustration marker, so I'm really excited to see how these do. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open this up. Okay, held together by the tape sticker. All right, check this out. There we go. The box over here. All right, so if you remember the other, review, they were a black, like the base color of the marker was black, and these are white. Now, I have to say that this is definitely a little bit more triangular than the other one. I mean, remember the other one was triangle as well, but this one seems a little bit more triangular. It's a lot smaller. It feels smaller than the other one, but it doesn't feel as plasticky. Like, it still feels a bit plastic, right? Like, I mean, it is a plastic hull, but there are different plastics that feel a different way. So it's very slick, feels less plasticky than the other. But all right, let's see if it rolls. And so it does roll, and eventually it'll stop. But the main thing about this is that it always has that flat with the triangle, right? So it rests flat on your finger, which gives you a lot more control, which is good. Ooh, that is a very nice looking brush. Right, a little bit long, but has a very nice tip to it. That is a very nice looking brush. And you can tell that the ink is all the way through the brush, so it's already holding ink, so it should have a nice flow to it. Now, there's no snap, but there is it's very tight link in it, so that's really good. All right, it's very nice. So, and then, I mean, it's just a typical fine liner. Looks good. Can't complain about that. Now, don't think that it posts. So, yeah, no posting. So, there's that. So, as normal, crystal board, 300 series smooth. Grab our sheet. Just pop it out. That way it doesn't bleed through all the other sheets. All right, some very vibrant colors here. So I'm gonna start with the brush because it seemed very interesting. Ooh. So that brush, it's a firm brush. I guess it would be considered a semi-firm brush because you can still, like when you draw with it, you can see that the tip actually bends. Oops, that was me smearing it. But when you put pressure on it, you can feel the resistance. That's very nice. I mean, this is a great brush. It can give you nice little thin lines, then give you nice thick ones. See what happens if you try and so it puts out a ton of ink, right? Like the brush does. Looked like I had something on the brush, so it looks as though like some pieces of the paper were coming up. But I don't think that these are water-based markers. It doesn't say. All the illustration markers and stuff, they were all alcohol-based, and that's what it seems like. But then again, it looks very watery. But see, but then it dries like almost instantly, and it doesn't tear up my paper. So maybe it is just alcohol. They're ink-based. Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's try this fine liner. It's a very thin line, but man, that ink flow, right? Doing it really quick, straight line like that. Not a gap, not a break, nothing. Wow. Wow. These are some nice markers. All right, let's try a different color. Yep, still the same. Okay, let's fill it up. So the one thing that I've noticed though, if you do kind of go over it, see it is pulling up some of the paper. So the more you go over it, the more it pulls up the paper, and then it will just be on top of your brush. So it kind of leads me to believe that this is a water-based marker, right? Because alcohol-based markers don't tear up your paper. So, but what's interesting is how much you can put on regular paper before it starts destroying your paper, right? Like that's an interesting combination that it is a seemingly, right? It doesn't tell us, but seemingly it's a water-based marker, but it has the ability to allow you to go over it again and again and again and again before it starts pulling up your paper. Because normally when you have a water-based marker, it's like two swipes and that's it, and then your paper is already being torn up. But here it seems as though however they put it together, it allows you to go over it again and again and again. So these are going to be fantastic for like journaling, or even if you're doing like the coloring book thing, these would be great. But for journaling, where you can have this nice, thin, concise, vibrant color, and then you can flip it over for like highlighting or quick drawings and stuff like that. These are nice, and the colors are just awesome. Like these are really nice colors. We've got a lot of the light pastel colors, right? Some really nice, look at that. And then the flow, I mean, just it stays with it. Nothing breaks. The brush holds its tip. Like these are great. These are definitely something to pick up. Like these are great. Let's see. Then we're gonna go to some darker colors. Like I picked all the like really light colors.
I mean, mostly just all these pastel colors, right? And because it's a water-based, like these would work really well on watercolor paper, you know, or mixed media paper. Like, yeah, these colors are just, they're great, right? And such a variety of these pastel colors, which are normally not so easy to come by, but you know, they've kind of done it. So let's try some of the darker colors and see how they perform as well. Still nice and vibrant. So I've realized, well, you gotta kind of get it worked up. But okay, so this one with the brown, and now it might just be the marker, we're gonna have to try it with a different one, but this one, it seems as though the ink, it's having a harder time with the flow of the ink, so it's like breaking apart in certain areas. So, you know, it might just be this one, considering that the others were so good, like the light colors. But man, the fine liner though. All right, let's see. Let's go with this color, this darker color. Okay, so I think it was just that marker, which also happens, you know. Well, no, see, he's breaking up too. So the darker ones seem to do really well on short. Like, well, no, you can get it, but if you use it, okay, so because it's it has to be water-based. Because it's water-based, right? If you have to let the water and the ink flow, right? And then you can get these lines. See, but if you can see it kind of breaking apart, and you got these little dots and stuff. But yeah, so it's like, and you can't really, well, maybe you can. Let's shake it a little bit. See if that'll work. So I guess you can shake it a little bit and try and get, oh, okay, so I just flung, I just flung ink all over my desk. Okay, so yeah, you can mix, so that's what's happening with these ones, is that the ink and the water are not they're not mixing. So if you decide to shake your pen, make sure the cap's on it. Yeah, I can even see just by doing that, you can see that the ink's in there. Okay, so there you go. Don't fling ink all over your desk. So if you have this separation of color, then all you really have to do is just, shake up your pen and it'll work just fine. So yeah, but like I said, don't throw your ink. Let's flip this over. Don't throw your ink all over your desk. Ooh, look at that color. That's such a nice color. Wow. And then, once you see it, you're like, all right, shake it up real quick, make sure that it's all mixed up, right? And then you got nice colors going. So that's the one thing, you probably want to shake these up beforehand if you plan on using the brush. But I mean, just the fine liner alone with these is just amazing. So actually, let's go ahead and shake it up first. All right, we're gonna shake it up first, and yeah, I mean, this is not black; it's a dark blue gray, and wow, that's great. Just the sheer amount of different colors that you can use, and how easily it just flows is so. The pen, like I said, this would be absolutely worth it just for the fine liners alone. But the fact that it comes with the brush and can give you a nice flow with the brush as well, that's absolutely fantastic. Now, because it is a watercolor based thing, like the blending is not necessarily something you can do on regular paper. You would need something thicker like a mixed media or watercolor paper to where the ink and water kind of stays on top of the paper, and then you can come in with another color that's similar, which they have. Like this set really, right, this set really does have nice transitions of color, so you can really, you know, make some nice blends if you wanted to, right? So, you know, if you want to experiment with that. But I know, because I've used these watercolor things before, and they do blend well together. You just, you know, it helps when you have the paper that will allow you to do the blending, right? Because I don't think this paper is gonna. Okay, so we come over here, right? Because you will pull it off. See, so you can pull that, and then because it's the water, it's actually pulling into that color. So, but it's pulling up, like I have bits of pieces of paper on my brush. So, like I said, it will blend, but it is these are definitely water based. And so you can, like I said, you can make the blends, but it would behoove you to make that blend on mixed media or watercolor paper or something like that. So, but it's water based, so I don't know how much it's going to actually affect, you know, these King Art. This one was Faber-Castell. It's Tombow. So we're gonna try it. Stella. All right, and we already know that these pens work really well with the Five Below marker, or they should hopefully work well with the Five Below fine liners. Yeah, oof. Okay. So these are, I mean, instantly saw that it was just pulling up the ink because it's not an alcohol-based marker. Right, so definitely watercolor. I mean, water-based. So it's definitely something that you got to keep in mind. But if you're just doing, like I said, if you're just kind of doing journaling, or if you're writing stuff, these are great. All right, let's see. So the Stedler just absolutely does not like this at all. The King Art one seems less affected. Faber-Castell gets affected. So yeah, for this, outside of the brand, the Five Below brand, the King Art pen fine liner actually works better. So, you know, you have some options. Tombow would be second, and then after that, Faber-Castell and then Stedler. But the first one would be the Five Below markers.
All right, so we just got done reviewing the Illustration dual tip marker, and, you know, finding out that they were water-based, kind of a letdown. Personally, it's a personal thing. Like, I would love to have a marker like this that's alcohol-based and affordable, right? Because this was fantastic. Like, no matter the fact that they are water-based, I think they worked really well with the paper. You could go over the paper a couple times before it started actually peeling up the actual paper. The fine liner was top notch. The flow, the feel, everything about that was great. Didn't have to warm it up. It was able to keep up with moving straight across the page. Like, it was fantastic. These are absolutely worth it for just the fine liner side of the pen, and the fact there are 28 different colors. They're nice and vibrant. You've got pastels, you've got darks, you've got brights. This was an absolute fantastic find. I would 100% recommend you picking these up. These are the illustration marker set, the dual point with a brush and a fine liner. These were fantastic. Well, that wraps up today's episode of Is It Worth It? I hope that this content was helpful in some way, shape, or form. And if you have any materials that you would like me to actually review, go ahead and drop it in the comments below and I will add it to the list. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you get notified every single time that I drop new content. Thank you all so very much, and I will see you at the next episode.